Welcome to the Music Reel. I'm your host, Nicola Burton, and today I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with Councillor Vicki Howard. Now, Vicki is the Councillor for the Central Ward for Brisbane City Council, which looks after the Brisbane CBD, the Valley, the inner city suburbs, and she's also the Chair for the Community, Arts and Nighttime Economy Committee. So, Vicki, thank you so much for talking to me today. How are you going?
I'm really, really well, and thank you for having me along. This is very exciting. It's wonderful to be able to talk about all of my beautiful portfolio.
Well, we're very excited to hear about this committee. So obviously it's at a time when there's not a lot happening in the events and the hospitality and music sectors. So perhaps we should start with the committee, and maybe you could introduce us to a little bit about it, how it came about, and what the plan and the vision is for the outcome.
Sure. So it is the Community, Arts and Nighttime Economy, which is quite a mouthful. The Nighttime Economy is the newest part of the committee. So Community and Arts had always been part of what we call our lifestyle group. And we have a fantastic team within Council that manages things like festivals and events, and we look after all sorts of things like lighting up some of our beautiful assets, the Story Bridge and some of those fantastic things. We look after City Hall and King George Square, and a lot of our sporting facilities that are on council land, a lot of our cultural organisations that are on council land. So for instance, the Powerhouse and Sunpack. We have the beautiful Museum of Brisbane is part of my portfolio. So I'm very blessed as a councillor to have such an exciting committee to look after. But if I can just mention that the Nighttime Economy was an addition that Lord Mayor Adrian Scrinner asked me to take on board because of COVID. We know that people are doing it tough. We know that, particularly in the area that I represent, in Fortitude Valley and in and around there, that COVID has really had a big impact on the businesses there and on the cultural activity. It was fantastic to see the restrictions lifting and to see people starting to come back to the Valley last Friday night. I was down there, and it was wonderful, to see people were starting to come back. So nighttime economy, we know, is just as important as the daytime economy. Lord Mayor Adrian Scrinner is committed to helping Brisbane get through the COVID pandemic, as we all know, has had a big impact on everybody.
It is so great to hear that we've got such support with the Brisbane City Council. You guys do such great work. And I know you've been doing a lot of funding programs for our industry. So I guess I've got a question for you in terms of data for the funding. There's been obviously so many funding opportunities that are happening as a result of the COVID lockdowns. And it's highlighted an issue where it seems like the real-time data for the music industry is not necessarily getting to where it needs to go to. So my question for you is, what kind of data do you need that can help you for a possible recovery roadmap for this sector in Brisbane? What would you need to hear?
So, Nikki, we've been out talking to a lot of the venue operators. I've been talking to quite a number of people in and around places like the Trifford and the Fortitude Music Hall. The Powerhouse has really suffered, as has Sunpack. All of our organisations have suffered. So we've been out, particularly with my portfolio, with the survey to all of our operators on council-owned facilities to find out what's important to them. Now, obviously, with a lot of sporting fields that we look after, things like paying their water bills, paying their insurance, and we know that's the same sort of thing with our cultural organisations. We know that there's those day-to-day expenses that just keep coming, even though COVID has stopped people from being able to come and enjoy the things that we do. So we have a special COVID grant that the Lord Mayor announced as a $3 million COVID grant, which is predominantly for people who are using our facilities so that we can help them to stay in business. And that's we'll be sending out some details on that, or probably within the next week or so. And that's really designed to get people back on deck as quickly as we can. So, you know, if you've got an insurance bill, let us know about it. If it's a water bill or an electricity bill. But in terms of our creatives, we know that we need to do a bit more than that. So we're very much working, at the moment I'm working very closely with the Fortitude Valley operators to see what we can do. And that's probably in the form of some activation that we can fund and that we can look at. So watch this space, because I'm very excited about some of the things I think we'll be able to achieve with that. For anyone that's listening today, if you've got any ideas, just reach out and let us know. Our call centre is fantastic. Our contact centre is designed to get any ideas through to the right areas of councils. So not only do I look after the nighttime economy, but we also have an economic recovery task force, and that is a really important area of council. Councillor Adam Allen is our finance manager, and he's the chair of that, and he's really been working hard with all small businesses to hear what it is that they need. And some of what we're hearing is that activation and having sort of fun things happening within precincts are things that we might be able to help with. So we're interested in hearing from everybody. We're always, you know, it's a 24/7 call centre. So if you get an idea and you'd like to sort of tell us about it, then by all means give the contact centre a call, and then we'll be able to reach out to you and find out how we can help.
So that sounds good, because it's actually giving ordinary everyday people who live in Brisbane some access to some information that they may not necessarily have access to, which is great. I guess the next question is, look, we're a bit alarmed about what's going on in Victoria right now with that whole second wave. So we've almost completed 4 months of this, I guess, twilight zone lockdown. A lot of the venues that we work with aren't necessarily ready to book yet, because they're watching Victoria and thinking, oh, I don't necessarily want to book anything too much just in case that second wave hits us. So in terms of a possible roadmap to recovery, what are your thoughts and recommendations for those of us in events and the music sector? What do you think we should do for the next little bit until we really get back? What are your recommendations and thoughts?
Well, I'm a big believer in networking. I think networking is by far the best thing that we can do. Reaching out to other people who are in similar situations, listening to what other people are doing, finding out where there are opportunities. So all 3 levels of government have announced grants. There's all sorts of bits and pieces that people can sort of hook into that they might not know about if the network isn't a good, strong one. So it's also good to support each other as well. And I think there is a strong commitment from, I think, the residents of Brisbane to really support our local businesses, our local buy. It's something also Lord Mayor Adrian Scrinner has been very committed to. We want local buy. We want people to be using locals when they're in the recovery. We want local artists to be able to come back on board with us. So one of the things that we've just been looking at is the QUBE effect, and I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's something that's run annually by council. But the music industry can be quite tough to crack sometimes, and council likes to help young artists just get that toe in the door. So this year, of course, as with everything, the QUBE effect has taken a slightly different journey in that it's become more online, but that in some ways has given us more opportunities. So it's something that we have had the voting on the People's Choice Award, and that was done online. And I think I can announce the winner to you today if you'd like me to do that. You know, this is a first.
Oh, wonderful. Let's do it.
Yes. So the winner that was announced just this week is KATANAK. KATANAK. I hope I've said that right. KATANAK is the winner.
Okay.
Yes. So they were a group that the people all voted. We had 34% more people voting this year than last year. So sometimes COVID can sort of help bring more people online and what's to know what's happening. We've got more prizes that will be announced on the 29th of August. So that's just sort of the People's Choice is just a taste of the QUBE effect. But if I can just say that QUBE effect is one of the ways that Council really wants to reach out to young artists, to get them involved, to connect them to other mentoring sites, those sorts of things. So we're very proud of it. It's been running now for a few years, and so it's something that I think is really good for us to know about.
Well, congratulations on that. I'll make sure I put all of the links to the QUBE. It's the QUBE effect.
It's the QUBE effect. I'll send you some information, Nikki, so that you've got some, so that you can promote it, because it's a really great opportunity. And when I knew I was going to be talking to you today, I thought it was something that you'd like to hear about.
Oh, I really appreciate that. And I love that COVID has been actually an opportunity for us to get a little bit innovative with our digital playground in terms of this sector. So Vicki, that sounds like what Brisbane City Council is doing is really taking a lead in our possible roadmap to recovery. So thank you so much for sharing that information with us. And I think overall your committee is going to make some really good inroads into what we need to see, because we don't know what's facing us. So I'll make sure I stay connected with you, because I'd like to hear about that, especially the activation part when it actually happens. When is that due, do you think?
So I think we're thinking that September is going to be the time. Some of the venue operators that I've been speaking with are putting their toe in the water. They're sort of, yes, hopefully doing this. It's fantastic that Howard Smith Wharves is now reopening, and each time something else opens, then everyone's a little bit careful, and we have to be, given what's happened in Victoria. I think we've got to be very sensible and careful about it, but I think that there's a great opportunity. I also think there's been an opportunity for people to press a reset button with COVID. It's allowed a lot of our people, a lot of our clubs and our venues to think about what else can they do as well as what they were doing before. So, and as an example, we've now got some fantastic laneway markets that just opened on the weekend down in the valley, and Arthur Apostolos has been fantastic to his tenants. We've got the girls from Quiver that you can go and learn how to be a DJ, which I think is just fantastic. I'm going to have a go at that, I'm sure.
Are you going to be filming that? You need to be filming that, Vicki.
I think we should. but Nikki, it was fantastic to see so many people out. It was a beautiful little sort of laneway markets that had, homegrown sort of. I bought some honey, and there were some earrings, and it was just beautiful. And then to wander into Wynn Lane and to see the girls with Quiver, it was everyone was having a go at being a DJ. So it's once those things start happening and people know that these things are happening, I think that we will recover. But I think it is going to take us a little while, and we all need to work together.
We do, and that's the wonderful thing about Brisbane. We've got so much happening. Be careful when you're out there, guys, but go out there to all those wonderful things that Vicki was talking about. Vicki, thank you so much for adding your voice to this conversation and taking the time to talk to us. And I'd like to check in with you perhaps September, October, just to see how the committee's going. Thank you so much, and take care for the rest of this whole crazy lockdown.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki.